what we will do today, I will continue work on this project, on my research project, which is CodeKN. I will resume work from yesterday. If you didn't check, if you don't know, check on my website. This is a page with some information, and there is also a YouTube video with explanation of the thing that I did yesterday. Main work for yesterday was to finish this compressor. Actually, I had this compressor, but I needed to finish refactoring of this compressor. Yeah, there's a function now. And also, yeah, of course, it's not a full source code. You can see on a video, in the video source code. And also another part that I started doing is this model that I put yesterday. Somehow I need to store information about. So I have web pages parsed, and somehow I need to store links and images in a given website, in a given web page in this case. So later when I have indexer working, so we can fetch this information. So basically what I'm talking about is this part. So I need to finish work on this part. Yeah, as I said, for prehistory, check this this post, small post, and now I will continue from there. Let me just double check if everything works properly. This is the first time when I do actual streaming. I did always test streams. Let me double check if everything still works. Yeah. So okay, we can finally start some coding. So there will be a lot of unknowns for you, because especially if you just start watching, if you are not aware about my YouTube videos and etc. Please make sure to check them if you are interested. So I will just continue work for today. And last time what I did, I use GORM. This is a Go package for Golang. This is a Go package, if you are not aware, for working with the databases. I use this package. And in this package, you can introduce like types, structs, and they will be transferred to the database tables. And in my case, I have a module called, or package in a Go's terminology, called URLs. This package is responsible for fetching URLs from internet and initializing this data pipeline. And where I stand right now, I have all these steps done already in source code. And now I need to finish this last part, which is basically, once URL is marked as eligible, I need to parse actual body of the web page to get some useful information, to get some structured information. And this involves parsing it, of course. I have another package. Sorry for repeating if you are aware of this part, but just to give some overview. So I have this package, page data, which is responsible for parsing actual page data. And actually, again, yeah, sorry for this. And again, like I use this approach, Golang HTML tokenizer, to extract this information. Actually, like main part of this package is available on my website. You can use the same approach. Only things that I did, for this particular article, I was interested in these tags, and now I use a bit extended version of this. I will show in a second. And what I'm doing, if you go to this website, this is a website I'm working on actually. If you go to this website, you can see this work, this logic in action, which is basically parse given URL, get its content, and then try to get metadata, headers, text, images, and other information from this from this page. And actually I have this part which saves URL, then saves its content like body. For now I save it directly in database. And also I have part which it's a compressed body. It's not actual like body. We get this text, we compress it and save it in database. I also have this part which is meta. I can show this table. Let me open my database. So in database I have this table, URL metas, which basically keeps information about each given URL with title, description, image of this web page, and etc. And now goal is to also get these links in a web page. Let me show an example what I mean by links. Let's say if I parse this website, in this website there is of course some links to other websites or to the internal pages of this website, and by looking for tag, a tag, you can get these links. And similarly, by looking at image tags, you can get images from this website. And that's basically what I'm doing here. Like this is all links within the given URL. And my goal for now is to also store this information. I have a model already like done. This is a model actually. I made also some indexing because, for example, if I have list of the links in database, when I fetch it, I will fetch it by URL. So when you query this database, you will query by URL. And that's why I need it to be indexed. So what does it mean in reality? Basically, let's say if I have this URL saved, by giving it to my query, I will show it in a second actually. By giving this URL, I can get all the related URLs. And the same for images. By giving this URL, I can get all the related images. So we have this model. It's already defined in our previous session. So now what I want to do, I want to save it. Let me close unnecessary windows so we can focus on a part that we will work on. And sorry for this long introduction. I want to make sure that everyone is aligned. So now, as I said, I already started working on this. So basically, if I go to this, I have multiple workers. Maybe in another video I can explain these workers in a bit in more details. And one of these workers is URL meta worker. This is responsible for this part. So for this part. And in terms of data, it is responsible for this scope. And in this worker, I iterate over all URLs. If they are matched, if they are validated as eligible URLs, I try to save them. And I save it by I save it as a meta. this is a table that we just saw, and I want to save it also like separate links. This is a part that I just explained, this model. And one missing part is we don't have actual save method. So we will write it right now. And the way I do this methods, I interact with. So I have a logic part, and also I have database part. And the way I interact through between those items, I use interfaces. I mean code interfaces. Meaning that if I want to save it, I have access to this storage. You see the storage variable. What I want to do, what I need to do, I will use this storage, and there needs to be this method. So you see we have this for URL meta, and we need to have the same for URL links, this one. So let me first introduce it in an interface. And yeah, let's first introduce it in actual storage, and then we will introduce it in an interface as well. So what I need to have a method called save URL link. We will accept URL link. URL link. And then try to save this link. So let's have also another one, and then I will provide some more background. So another one will be URL image. We will accept URL image, URL image, URL image. The way how it works, so we use save on actual DB, which is GORM, right? And we basically we leave rest of the work to GORM to make sure that it's saved. The reason why I have this wrapper, because sometimes you might need to do some validation, some checks before you save, and also this way I can make sure that interface, implementation for interface, will be correct. So that's why I have these methods. And one thing that I don't have for now, I need to introduce this new types. Let me check if I did it. I need to introduce these new types in my storage. So let me go to the storage implementation. Yeah, storage implementation. I need to open this one. And what I need to make sure is that when we just bootstrap application, these tables will be created. You see, this is a way how GORM understands that we need to create these tables. And whenever we start application, if there is a database but there is no tables, it will automatically create this table. And one table is a URL image, and another table is URL image. I prefer to keep order in a way that I use them. So this is gonna be a URL link and then URL image. So if you are familiar with ORM, object relational mapping, this is exactly most of them, they do the same, right? For example, there is also a similar thing for Python, Django, and etc. So GORM is exactly has exactly the same approach. So let me go back. Let's see. Yeah, we have this initialization. Let me double check. So I will go back here. Yeah, for now, let's comment this part. And now we need to introduce these new types in our interface. So I have this database. Let me see. So let me play a bit with the order of the stubs. Yeah, so this is our actual storage, and I introduced these new types, new methods, so I will also add it to my interface. So this is, and of course, since this is another package, I need to make sure I use correct alias, and same goes for this one. So once I introduce this in interface, these methods will be available for use in this package. Storage, URL, image. And now in my worker, I can do storage dot save link in this case. This is our link. No, this is our link actually. It needs to be in the same scope, so I will move it here. Yeah, and of course not this way. URL link. And actually I need to check for error. I will do it in a second. And same goes for error, storage, save URL image. And this is gonna be URL image. So we have this part. So this will take care of actual save. And one thing that we are missing right now, we need to double check. We need to double check if we don't have any errors. So what I'm gonna do, I will just log it if there is error. And also we need to make sure, like, since in one web page, let me use again the same diagram. So since in one web page we can have multiple links and multiple images, I need to make sure that if I fail to save one of them, first I make sure that I log it, and second, application doesn't stop, so we continue we continue the process. So that's why I will go back, and what I will do, I will check if error is not empty. I make sure that I log it. So for now I use very simple logging, as you can see. And I also make sure that I put the worker's name so I can easily navigate to find the error. And maybe I will, in future, I will introduce something, some wrapper around this logger, or maybe introduce some service which will keep all these logs. But for now, what I will do, failed to save URL link. And let's also say which link we failed to save. URL link dot URL and actual error. So this is a standard structure that I use for reporting, for logging errors. So this will print errors message, and this will print URLs that we failed to save. And actually, yeah, I didn't need to do anything else because if I fail, one thing I need to double check if I fail, what's the reason I fail. And I just understood that I don't have one important part. I need to make sure that I don't save the same couple of URL and image again and again in a database. Let me explain what I mean. Let's say if you have a page, let's say we have page abc.com. So this page has a link to two other pages. Let's say abc.com page 1, and it has another internal link to page 2, and let's say for the sake of example, it also has a link to the external website called bcd, for example, .com. So this is also link, right? So in this page we have 3 other links, and I need to make sure that once I parse this page and get all internal and external links, and when I save it, let me put this table. When I save it, I need to make sure that I don't save the same URL and save pages again and again. So what I mean, when we will save this information, there will be this URL abc.com. There will be, let's don't use this part. So there will be this part, which is link URL, right? Link URL. This is our link URL, and we don't need this two part. Let me delete it. So we don't need description. Go away. We don't need. We need title, but I will leave it for now. And I don't need this one. So, so we have. Let's put it here. And maybe a bit zoom out. So we have this page. We have links in this page, and we need to save them. So in abc.com we have link 1, which is abc.com page 1. Again, we have another one, abc.com. On the same page we have link to the abc.com page 2, and we have our third link, which is abc.com again, and it refers to bcd.com. So once we save this information, let's just imagine that you have the same process running again, meaning that you will get the same, page can have new links, new URLs, but most of the time it will also have like repeating URLs, and we need to make sure that next time we process the same page, abc.com, we don't save this information again. So we don't save this part again, right? So that's why I need to change my implementation a little, so I don't save repeating information. And that's how I'm gonna do it. I will, instead of saving, actually, I will update. So I need to change my database in this case. So what I will do, I have one example of this. I think it's update or create. We need to have the same. Instead of save, we need to have a method called update or create. And this method will take care of this check. So it will check if we have this couple, it will update it. If we don't have this couple of URL and link, it will add this one. So that's why this is one thing that we need to do. And another thing we need to do, we need to make sure that we don't log errors when we have duplicates. This is second thing that we need to do. And we need to do one more thing. Let me note this Visual Studio Code. Let me add this plan. So we need to make sure, oops, let's close all this. So we need to make sure that one, change save with update or create. This is one thing that we need to do. Change save. Second thing, log only actual database errors, which means that ignore errors related to to duplicate records. And third one, I forgot what was the third one. So we need to make sure that we don't log these errors. We need to make sure to change this method. And more importantly, we need to make sure that we introduce this, I think it's called pair index, or pair unique index. I will need to search for this. And this basically, we say that we have uniqueness. Okay, so we have uniqueness on URL and link URL. So a combination of these two cannot be repeated. So this is what we need to introduce. And why we need to introduce it on database level? Because once you have this on database level, even if you forgot to check it on your application side, by the way, sorry, I need to increase this. So once you forgot to check it on application level, you will still have some mechanisms on your database side that will make sure that this check happens. So let's start with this one. This is a simple one. So what I will do, I will copy paste, of course, from my previous code. So let's do this. Save, update or create URL link. This is what we need. Update or create URL link. So we will get URL and link URL. Okay. Make sure that we have this check on database link URL. I will explain them in a bit of details. Just let me finish this part. So this is gonna be URL rename URL link. Type will be URL link. And this one will be also URL link. So update or create URL link, URL link URL, actual object link. Yes. So what we do here, I use again the features of GORM, and just 1 second. Yeah. What I'm doing here, I am using a feature of GORM, saying that we will update this model, we will execute this query on this model, and if there is a match, we will update it. If there is no match, we will create this. So this create part is similar to this one. And similarly, we need to do the same for, so we can remove this part already. Similarly, we need to do this for URL image. So update or create URL image. It will be not link URL, but image URL. Object will be rename image. No, sorry. URL image. Type will be URL image. URL image. Yeah, this is gonna be image URL. This is gonna be image URL. This is gonna be URL image. So this part is repeating part. I'm just doing making sure that we don't miss anything. So update or create URL image. We will receive URL image URL image as a type. Then we are executing this query to check if we have URL and image URL. This I have error here. This link URL will be this. How this part works is so we have these question marks, and whatever we provide to this function as a parameters. So for example, this one will go here, and this one will go here. And if there is a match, we will update similarly. If there is no match, we will create this. So we will unfortunately for this parts I don't have tests. I would probably at some point need to add component tests for this part, but for now I will just make sure manually that this part works. So we have now this methods actually. Now we need to reintroduce it in our interface. Yep. Second one gonna be this one. So this is gonna be second one, and update, create URL link, update or create URL image. Types are correct, and then reuse them here. So what we're gonna do, our call will change. So we will say update or create URL link. So now we need to provide URL dot URL dot link URL and actual type, actual object, sorry. So, and we need to make sure to check for this as we mentioned. And I will just copy paste it here. We need to do the same for image. URL image, URL image, image URL, URL image, and of course we need to change this URL image. And fail to save URL image. Yeah, let me double check. So this is enough to already execute this part, right? And I will do it in a second. And let me mark this part done. So now we will need to do this part. So first what I will do, I will execute first two, see if everything works, and then try to find this one. So to execute, not now, go away. As I explained in my previous videos, you can find them on my YouTube page. What I have in my IDE, I have this configuration which will run these URLs. So this URLs actually is more than just one worker. It has other workers that make sure that we get these URLs from the given sources. Execute matcher on these URLs, and etc, etc. So we have multiple steps, and at the end, if we mark, if you have some matches, it will actually save it. And once it's saved, meta worker will start, and this is a place where we made just these changes. And let's execute. So what I expect to have, that in my database I will have two new tables, and then they will keep information about this URLs. So let's see. Let me, yeah, it says it's running. I will just restart. And whenever I do a restart, I make sure that application is compiled again. So I provide special flag. I think, let me check. I do it through IDE, but I think this is one of those flags that make sure that it's actually compiled. Okay, so this is running. I see we have some new links, and this is actually a result of my compression. I explained it in a previous video, and how this work is. So I have original size, this original size, this is compressed size, and this is win. That is like, this shows how much we compressed the given URL. So let me see if we have any fail to save URL link. Data too long. Oh, really? Is it for everything? No. So for some of them, I think we have error. For image title, okay. I need to make sure that for image title, we have enough size. I will make it in a second, but I believe we already have some URLs. Yeah. So we have these tables, right? These are two new tables, and let's see how it looks. I will start with a link. This is probably interesting one. So this shows that from this page, okay, I already said some problems, but anyway, it says that from this page, we have a link to this page. As you can see, it's internal. So we have this information. And title says that it's a research, impact, blah, blah, blah. Cool. We have this information. Yeah, there is some errors, and we already have 4,000. This table gonna be huge. At some point, I will need to make sure that I can handle this this amount of data. I hope stream works. Still works. Yeah. Let me refresh. I'm checking the stream. Just give me a second. Yeah, it works. Okay. So this part is done. Let's finish also the last one, which is we need to introduce the index. So we don't have. Now I can explain it a bit better. We need to introduce an index to make sure that we don't save the same pair of URLs again and again. Even so, we do check this from application. We make sure that we don't update. We don't save. We use update first and then create. But as I said, it's better to have this check also from database side. So maybe I can save already this work. And now we have one more to do actually for increase size for image and link titles. So let's do this one. For this one I need to search. I never did this in GORM. GORM pair unique. Yeah, this is the exact question I have. Oh, Okay, no, this is yeah, this looks like valid answer. Okay, let me do this. So I was trying to avoid using the same index for these two fields, but I think it's the only way to make sure that it works in a way that we want it to work. So what I will do, I will just copy paste URL link. So this configuration must make sure that we don't have this repeating data. So I will need to do the same for another table. Just let me double check. Yep. So I need to double check. We will have same here. Show this one. URL image. Yeah. And title. Let's also fix this title. Like this part is quite easy, so I usually give 1000 for titles. So this should do the trick. Cool. And what we need to do, let me check. Since we don't tag processed URLs, if I execute, this code should run again. But one thing that which will not run, let me think. Yeah, since we have introduced a new configuration for tables, this part will not be executed. Like tables will not be created again. So I will need to let me check if I can delete only these tables. Images, URL links. Can I delete? Yeah. URL, let me double check. Images and links. Yes. Go away. Cool. And then I will just execute this part again. So by the way, we can mark this two else done. So what we expect, yeah, I dropped only two tables, so we don't have the whole pipeline starting again. We don't have this. We will just try to get these URLs and links for all matched URLs. So I'm looking for failed logs. By the way, I can disable this part already. Okay, so I see one error. Linked it. Yeah, I think this is also easily fixable. Unfortunately, I don't have automatic fix for this. What I usually do, I do run this SQL script to fix it. Error here basically is there is some special symbols in a title, and you need to have the proper collation to save these symbols. Usually they are usually they are like emojis or any special symbol actually. So I don't see any other error. Okay, so we still have data too long. I need to make sure that I need to actually make sure what is too long actually. Is it more than 1000? It's very strange actually. Okay, but in general it looks okay. We need to just fix these two cases. Let me double check. Yeah, so this is links we are looking at. Looks good. And image title is empty. Yeah, I believe this is okay. Some people don't put. Oh, and there might. Okay, so I have some. And there is also one thing that I don't have so far in my page data parser. How I define image title is actually, if I go here, I get it, I guess, yeah, from alt attribute. Some people can also use title attribute, I believe. Let me double check. HTML image title. I want to make sure that it is valid by HTML. No, okay, so if I believe this source, which I believe, yeah, I don't see mention for title. But I think for a tag you can specify title, right? Let me see. No, really. Title. Okay, so which means that we are doing okay, at least for most cases. And I believe for this session, that's it. I will just make sure to commit all these messages. Finish work on URL image and URL link. Okay. Yeah, there is one issue, which is size. I will double check. I need to manually check it, but in general, this is what we need. But even so, if you see on the screen, we finished GORM models, almost finished. We can save them in MySQL, but we didn't finish URL meta worker. So next session, I will continue work on this meta worker. For now, thanks for watching.